I think Paris 1924 was the first broadcast Olympics. It was the first time radio had broadcast at Paris 1924. So when Paris then staged it again in 2024, we were the first time that a UK commercial radio station had broadcast it.
As an athlete, when you're at the Olympics, it's the biggest goal you've been working for, and you're representing not just yourself and your team, but you're representing your whole country.
It's every boxer's dream to compete in the Olympics. I think that is the pinnacle of amateur boxing.
We've had nothing but joy here so far.
To be asked to do it and then to do it and have the best 2 and a bit weeks ever, it was just a career highlight for me.
It was his idea.
It was you that pushed it. I didn't come up with the idea. I would have loved, in my years that I've been with talkSPORT, to have brought the Olympics as a proper broadcasting event to the radio station, but it never seemed likely or possible. And that was until one day I read some small print that said that the latest rights deal around media for television and radio allowed another radio station potentially to broadcast the Olympics as well as the BBC. So I discovered this fact that the radio rights in the UK and Ireland were what they called non-exclusive, and that therefore they were available. I mentioned this to John, thinking it would just be something we would talk about and forget about. He said, we've got to go to take that to talkSPORT. Yeah. We've got to tell them that that is an opportunity. And so we came down to the building. I think initially they said no, pretty bluntly said it's not for us. But we kept pushing, and we put a presentation together, and we tried to give them an idea of what it would sound like on the radio, who might be involved. John was very good at explaining why the radio station should do it, and eventually, 1,000 cuts later, we got the okay, and the radio station went away and did the deal. That was nothing to do with us. We just sort of presented a vision initially.
But the hardest bit was then getting the phone call saying, oh yeah, we've got it. Would you like help organise the whole thing? And that was like, oh, okay. So it was an amazing experience to be able to do it. Michael did most of the hard work, the hard grind with Ellie to put the people in place and get the right people in the right places.
Predominantly at talkSPORT, we talk football. What is it, 99% football? The Olympics covers a lot of sport, and a lot of sport that most of us don't know a lot about in depth. So it required a lot of research, a lot of time, sat in front of a computer, getting a backache just to make sure you put in the hours. So yeah, it was really, really nerve-wracking, but like I say, it was the best experience ever of my career, and I think we all learned a lot while we were doing it as well, and found a new love for certain sports that perhaps we never really would have paid much interest into until we were there live in Paris.
I was very excited, but I was also really surprised, and it was obviously an honour to be doing such a big role for talkSPORT with their first Olympic Games. But I was also thinking as well, this is going to take a lot of preparation, because I have covered athletics in the past, but not for some time, and certainly not to that level. So I think there was a mixture of excitement and apprehension.
I think we were looking for a certain amount of freshness for our lineup. We were looking for new people. We were looking for different voices. We were looking for people that not only did we think would be good on the radio, but people that would bring knowledge and insight and know-how. And the way we approached that was by targeting, and targeting is maybe the wrong word, but approaching people that were either still current athletes. Adam Gemili is still a current athlete who was one of our standout co-commentators. And we also thought we would approach people that were recently retired, so would still know some of the people in the squad. And from a broadcasting point of view, that can be difficult, because you are being asked to be critical, you are being asked to be analytical about people who were your teammates a few weeks, a few months, a couple of years ago.
I'd always wanted to work in the sport behind the scenes. I think I've been in the sport a very long time. I've got a lot of sort of knowledge, and I feel like I can really help grow the sport. I'd never really thought about the broadcasting side of it and actually presenting and help sell the show to everyone. And I was more nervous on the watching everyone compete, because you're not really in control. When you're not in control, like when I'm an athlete, like everyone gets nervous around me, but it's what I do every day, and I know how to do it, and I'm in control. But when you're sort of on the other side of it and you just are a spectator, oh my gosh, it's horrible I was so nervous, I couldn't really eat, trying to talk about a lot of your friends and stuff, but it was a nice way to enjoy the Olympics for sure.
One of the other things that we said right at the outset from a talkSPORT point of view was, for those lead commentary voices, they had to be voices that were familiar to our listeners. So that's why we had the likes of Nigel Adderley and Joe Shannon and Ian Danter and Alfie Reynolds and Charlotte Richardson and others as part of the team, because we didn't want to just import a lot of people that were maybe specialists in hockey or triathlon. We wanted people leading our commentary alongside the experts that our listeners would know.
Yeah, because talkSPORT already do great commentary. We don't need a new commentary team to be able to tell the same story. Radio commentary is about telling a story, and we do it brilliantly well.
I think that with me not competing in the Olympics myself, I chose, I'd done the Commonwealth Games in 1994, chose to turn professional as opposed to going to the Atlanta Olympics in 1996. I always regretted that decision in my boxing career. To get the opportunity to go there and commentate on the boxing was, for me, yeah, it was sensational.
This was my first Olympics on site, and it was absolutely amazing, because it's very different doing it in a VO booth, and yes, you've got like the audio from the sound, but being there was absolutely incredible, because you're not only with the fans, but you just really get in the spirit of the games.
I think the other big thing that we wanted as well experts who people recognise, so the talkSPORT listener would know Daley Thompson, they would know Tessa Sanderson, and it was ironic that they were stars and gold medalists of 1984, which was actually the first games that me and you remember and got us into the Olympics. But actually, from a British athletics point of view, the athletics team, that was the most successful games, Paris 2024, since LA 1984. So having Daley and Tessa commentate on that was really, again, I'd like to say it was all planned, but it was an amazing fact that they came together to be able to watch it and see the new generation like Keely Hodgkinson win those gold medals.
I think we had one of the best teams out there, to be sat alongside gold medalists with Tessa Sanderson, Daley Thompson, Adam Gemili, who is still a sprinter and can kind of react to what is it like to be an athlete right now. And then Daley Thompson, who has connections everywhere, brings up Lord Sebastian Coe at one point. You're thinking, this is ridiculous.
In the talkSPORT commentary position in the Stade de France, during one of the evening sessions of athletics, the premier Olympic sport in most people's eyes, we looked along the line and there was Daley Thompson, Tessa Sanderson and Seb Coe. These three won gold medals in Los Angeles in 1984, 40 years before they were the three track and field gold medalists for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And there they were, commentating on the athletics for talkSPORT on radio.
Daley Thompson in particular almost adopted me, and that was so much of a benefit to me, because I'd not met him at all before the Olympics. Obviously, I knew who he was. I'd seen him win his gold medals. I played Daley Thompson's decathlon on the computer as a child, like everybody else of a certain age. And the first time I met him, he wasn't due to work with me. And he said, "What are you doing today?" And I said, "I'm reporting on the athletics." And he said, "Are you on your own?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, I'll stay with you if you want. I've got nothing else on." And he sat with me. We reported on the athletics together. He would point one or two things out. He knows so much. I mean, he's obviously now a legend. It's over 40 years since he was competing at the very highest level, but he knows absolutely everything about everybody involved at the Olympics on and off the track.
Desiree, Daley here. I just wanted to say how proud I was to see you in that stadium tonight. It was absolutely fantastic to see you get that medal. I am so proud of you. I cannot believe after all these years you managed to stay the course, and look at you now, an Olympic medal holder. Well done, baby. I love it.
It was wonderful initially to rewind a bit and get Dame Kelly to be part of our talkSPORT team. I think with Sir Steve Redgrave and Dame Kelly Holmes on the team, it really legitimised what we were doing on the radio, and it showed people that we were serious and we were going to do these Olympics well, and we were going to get the good names, and not just the big names with the medals they've won, but people with things to say. And Kelly has proved time and time again what an outstanding ambassador she is for British sport, as well as her two wonderful gold medals in Athens and other Olympic medals as well that people sometimes forget. You know, what she's done beyond the sport, her impact in society has been absolutely outstanding.
We had a lot of fun, especially covering the opening ceremony when it was pouring hard with rain and no one could see anything, no one knew what was happening. We had a lot of laughs, but yeah, really chuffed to have been involved. I didn't know, I have a clue what I was doing, so just go with it, wing it, fake it till you make it, some people say. Go in there, and that's what mentality should be. If you get given an opportunity, you take it up, you learn from it, learn from the experts, and then you've got the next tools to move on.
The formalities are still continuing with this Olympic opening ceremony. It looks like they're doing the Olympic oath now with the athletes, of course, ahead of this Paris 2024 Games officially getting underway.
For the opening ceremony, it was we are literally just seeing what happens unfold before us. The weather did not help, so our big plans of being on a balcony or, you know, outside in a lovely setting didn't quite work for us. And we did have our reporters who were out and about, obviously, but they were getting soaking wet. We were very fortunate to be in our hotel where we could pitch up and watch the opening ceremony, but it also meant that we were restricted in what we could see because we could only watch what's on the TV. But I think what we had with me and Kelly alongside me is it was raw. Everything we reacted to was what everyone was seeing. So when you had that wonderful moment with the silver horse and the knight riding on the horse, we were both just in awe of what is going on, and the mystery of the whole opening ceremony, being on boats, the first time it's not been in a stadium. There was so much to love about it, so intriguing.
The opening ceremony, without being disrespectful, sort of kind of dragged on a bit without anyone really understanding what was happening. It was raining so hard, you know, you're seeing the barges go on, all the athletes getting rained on, you're seeing, you know, bits happening. The torch seemed to be the longest process to get the torch lit up, and we're just thinking something's got to happen. And I'm thinking there's all these faces coming that didn't seem to be French, and I'm thinking the most famous person who's French has to be Celine Dion. So I'm like, there's got to be a Celine Dion moment. I'm like now going, there has to be. She's got to be here. Like, I'm literally thinking this has to be. I'm trying to like up the whole conversation because we were like losing like the wheel really to carry on with the commentary.
Now we're back on the Eiffel Tower. I think this could be music.
This could be the moment I have been waiting for all night. All night.
Yeah.
Yes! Celine Dion!
She is performing on the balcony of the Eiffel Tower.
Celine! She saved the opening moment. Celine Dion! It was just like the best moment. That's the only thing I remember from that commentary. Celine Dion, I love her.
And there's people from all over the globe around me at the moment. They're all enjoying these Olympic Games.
I was told by the IOC president, Thomas Bach, before the Games, when I spoke to him for talkSPORT, that you never compare games. So I was trying to get him to say that Paris would be better than London because it was the next European Games since London, 12 years on. And he was very, very forceful in his answer that we don't compare games. But the media compare games. That's what we do. We all want to know, was it better than London 2012? During the Games in Paris, I thought it was better than London. I thought the atmosphere was incredible. The weather was hot. It was, apart from the first day in the opening ceremony, it was hot, it was sunny. And people came together, and everybody I saw on the trains, and even the Parisians, seemed like they were enjoying themselves. And I remember that from London. But I think Paris went one step further. They used their amazing locations, the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées was closed. Can you imagine in London closing the Mall for 3 months, which is effectively what they did during the summer? That would have never happened in London 2012 because it wouldn't have been able to happen. London wouldn't have coped with that, but it did in Paris.
I thought they'd done great. I think they'd done great at showcasing the venues. The venues were extraordinary. The architecture, the environment was brilliant. Going around and being in all those venues, I just thought, wow, they've done that really well. From a sports perspective, I think there's some great competition, really brilliant, you know, really great moments. And I think they've done themselves proud.
I spent most of my time at the La Défense Arena, which was spectacular, not only because you arrive and then there's thousands of people there just kind of taking in the atmosphere. There's a long walk up until the swimming pool, and especially when Léon Marchand was in the building, you knew he was there because there were French flags everywhere. Everyone was singing Allez le Bleu. This was outside, let alone when you got inside the cauldron of noise that was the La Défense Arena. And even if you had someone sitting next to you, you couldn't even hear a word that they were saying.
The atmosphere in the Stade de France was, honestly, it was, I'd compare it, maybe not quite the levels of London. A home Olympics for me, I'm always going to be biased. The crowd there was insane, it was incredible. But considering Rio wasn't like a packed stadium, and Tokyo we had no crowd there at all. To get into the stadium and the vibes and the energy that the fans brought, honestly, the French did such a good job, and the fans all got behind it. People were dancing and singing and really getting behind the athletics, really screaming for the athletes. And you could see that in some of the performances, especially for the French athletes as well. Their performance definitely raised, and a lot of them did a lot better than maybe they were expected to do because of that extra % from the crowd. So yeah, the stadium was beautiful. The track was phenomenal. The bell was brilliant. That was a good thing to see. I know they're going to keep that bell. It's going to go down in history. And the fact that all the gold medal winners got to ring it, that was really cool. And the whole stadium would go really quiet. Shh, 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 shh. The athlete would wait, build up the tension, and then ding, 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 and then the whole crowd erupted. And it's things like that. It's moments like that you don't forget. And especially for the gold medal winners, doing that little bit extra. It's very easy to just give them a flag and let them go on their lap, but just the little things like that will go down in history.
Roland Garros, you could not have picked a better venue for the boxing, if I'm totally honest, the way that it was, and it was absolutely packed. The afternoon sessions were packed, the evening sessions were packed, day in, day out. There was a real appetite for boxing out there, but Roland Garros, the sound that it made in there was just like, yeah, it was a dream come true. Did I ever think I was going to be there? Definitely not.
And then you've got the other arenas like the Château de Versailles, which was incredible. So I thought, right, you get your little Paris Olympics app ready and you go, right, you just go to the location. What I didn't realise was there were loads of people like looking around at the Château de Versailles, and I was like, okay, I'm here, right, where are the horses? Because it was for the equestrian. And then I kept asking all these French authorities. I was like, where are they? Where? They came, oh, okay, tout droit, like keep walking, keep walking. Anyway, 90 minutes later, I'm literally up a hill on my phone to Dad back in England, being like, I have no idea where I am. No sign of horses, no sign of fans or anything. But the problem was, all the French officials were just saying it's like an hour walk from one end of the palace all the way. You walk down this long garden all the way up until the bottom, and then basically it's all the way at the end of there. So anyway, after 3 hitchhikes, of which some wonderful British women managed to just crawl up to me, and they were like, Katie, they like drove up to me, and they're like, Katie, we've seen you, no, they didn't say Katie, we've seen you 6 times walking up and down along the Château de Versailles. Do you need a lift? And I was like, absolutely. They were like, where are you going? I was like, I'm trying to find the equestrian, of which they were like, oh, you've got such a long way to go. And then 2 hitchhikes later, finally get to the equestrian, of which then, right, Team GB are on for a gold medal. I arrive, okay, so Laura Collette's there, and she's just about to do her final run, and then GB are on gold. So anyway, so I'll get straight into where you wait to do the interviews. And literally, after I arrived, after my 3-hour journey of trying to find it to the equestrian, Team GB win gold, Team Eventing gold, Laura Collette comes through, bang. Congratulations, you won a gold medal. So in terms of, you have the swimming where you've got to logistically try and bounce around from there to the equestrian, to the La Concorde where the skateboarding was. Then you've got, the hockey, did a lot of the hockey. It's all over Paris. So not only do you have to have all the knowledge in terms of what's coming for the events, but you also need to logistically make sure you actually get to each of these places in time.
In hindsight, and from conversations I've had since with some of the sport federations, I think it was a little cloak and dagger maybe, that actually behind the scenes it was a little cheap and a little bit stretched.
I've spoken to athletes subsequently. There were issues around food, for example. There were issues around travel and transport. I know that some of the swimmers are looking forward to the fact that the calendar in LA is going to be flipped, because the swimmers always feel that some of the logistics around the Olympic Games, they get trialled on them because they are the first to go. So getting from the village to the venue and all the rest of it. And in LA, that's going to be different. The athletics is going to be the first big sport on. So maybe the athletes will be trialled. The track and field athletes will be the ones doing the trial. And the swimmers will then pick up when everything has sort of evened itself out and smoothed itself out a little bit.
They did it and they've delivered it, and no taxpayer paid for it in Paris. It was all funded by advertising and by sponsorship. And they did an incredible job, and it is a great games. Whether it is the greatest, yes it is, because it's just happened, but LA's just around the corner.
You did, I think we've counted up 15 different sports. So if you didn't struggle to keep up with it, you're lying.
Yeah, 15 sports, from canoe slalom to rowing to cycling to weightlifting, diving, so many. And then you also have to be across the athletics, because that's what everyone wants to talk to you about. So although Michael was in the stadium and the talkSPORT team were doing the commentary, I might be at another venue. I think I was at Taekwondo one evening, but also keeping an eye on what was going on in the athletics stadium.
When you go abroad with teams, it's such a team atmosphere, because you'd come back to the hotel and you'd be like, right, where were you today? Oh, I saw this. Or I was able to go and join them at the athletics. And what spot talkSPORT had for the athletics, right on the finishing line.
Get to see the whole stadium, get to see the whole track perfectly, and it was, the best seats in the house, really.
We saw so many great stories every single night. That was when the main talkSPORT team would all be there in the stadium. Natalie, Tessa, Adam, Daley and myself, along with all of our reporters and Sal and Izzy, who were in charge of the technical side of it. And they were some great nights. And I think that they're some of the best memories I've had covering sport for talkSPORT.
It's between Hodgkinson and Mora at this stage. Keely Hodgkinson looks to extend her lead, and she comes away to surely win a gold medal. There's a late run though from Daguma of Ethiopia, but she won't get there. Keely Hodgkinson is the Olympic champion. It is the first gold medal for a British woman on the track since 2008, and Keely Hodgkinson of Wigan is the queen of the track for Team GB. She is the Olympic champion at the age of 22.
She is the pride of Britain right now.
She joins a very select club. Anne Packer in 1964, Kelly Holmes in 2004, and Keely Hodgkinson in 2024. She is the Olympic champion.
You wondered about the pressure of being such a red-hot favourite, but you didn't seem to feel that pressure at all.
I'm glad it came off that way, because I definitely was feeling it a little bit. But I think it's such a privileged position to be in. I could feel the pressure, and it definitely is not a completely new position to me, but to be a red hot favourite into an Olympic Games, that is quite a big thing to deal with. And I am only 22 still. I've still got some more experience to gain, and that was another one. So yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity to really step up and fulfil that role.
You're not training and killing yourself every day to just make up the numbers, and that's something Keely worked out pretty young. And she's still such a young athlete. But she believes herself and she backs herself, and head to head with anyone, I'll take Keely, honestly, because she's got such a grit and determination, and you saw that. And to watch that 800 meters at the Olympics, and I got to watch it with Dame Kelly Holmes, which was insane. The last real winner of the 800 meters that Britain's had, and it was one of the best moments of athletics that I've ever seen live. And wow, what a reception she got from the French crowd, and it was brilliant. I was screaming, and I had to sort of compose myself. Well, we are actually commentating on this. We can't lose your head a little bit, but it was fantastic, and she got her results that she just deserved.
There are world records to chase, And I do wonder whether she would like to maybe double up and do what Kelly Holmes did and get the 800 and the 1500 metres. But we were talking about that when we were in Paris, and it's become so much harder to do now because the events have become even more specialised than they were when Kelly won her 2 gold medals in 2004. And it's a very competitive field. But if she wants to set herself a target, I think that's something she could do. But she is literally somebody with the athletics world at her feet at the moment. And, you know, she is going to be the poster girl, if that's the right phrase, for GB going forward, I think, for a number of Olympics for as long as she wants to be.
So when Kelly joined the talkSPORT team, one of the things, if you want, Kelly's rider, should we put it like that, was that she wanted to be in the stadium the night that Keely won a medal. It made sense from a radio point of view that we would have Kelly Holmes as part of our commentary team for that night. And what was brilliant about having people like Kelly was they also wanted to extend their skill set. And Kelly was the one that said, when Keely wins that gold medal, I'd like to do the interview with her. Now, from our point of view, that's radio gold, isn't it? I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. You bring Dame Kelly Holmes, gold medalist in the 800 metres from 2004, together with the 2024 gold medalist Keely Hodgkinson. They've got this terrific relationship. To see Keely's face light up and the reaction when she saw Kelly Holmes stood next to me in that interview position, I'm not really sure what they said in the 3 or 4 minutes that they spoke on the radio. It was a wonderful interview, I remember at the time, but I just remember thinking, this is absolutely brilliant that we've managed to put these 2 people, these 2 Olympic gold medalists together in this moment. Kelly, who knows what this means and has done it, with Keely, who's just done it and has all of that wonderful life experience that Kelly has to come on account of having won a gold medal at the Olympic Games. It was brilliant.
Keely, you've done it! Olympic champion, well done! Fantastic! You were on a mission to turn your silver of Tokyo into gold. How does that feel right now?
It feels incredible. I feel like it hasn't sunk in yet. I'm still in shock, like my head's all over the place. But yeah, I've worked so hard for this, and to see it come together, me and my team, it's not mine, it's a we process with all of this, and yeah, I'm just super, super happy. And my dad is crying his eyes out over there, so I know my family's here.
Well done, Keely. I'm so proud of you, darling. Yeah, that was a brilliant moment. Being in Paris, seeing lots of different sports happening, seeing all the young talent come through, the achievements of Great Britain and other nations, being in the stadium when Keely Hodgkinson won the 800 metres, the first girl to win 800 since me. I felt, you know, really, I felt that was a really special moment because I'm always a massive advocate of mentoring young people and wanting young people to achieve, 1, to keep my sport alive, and 2, to see that it's possible to keep, you know, journeys going.
I've looked up to people like Kelly. I've had the opportunity to get to know her in the last couple of years, and her energy is just amazing, and you can see why she was so successful, to emulate what she did now 20 years ago, not to make her feel old because she looks great. It's just, yeah, it's incredible to be part of that.
The Americans have won, and so the curtain finally falls on Andy Murray's storied tennis career.
We knew that Andy Murray was going to be one of the stories of the Games because it was going to be his last competitive appearance at a major event, and we know how much the Olympics means to him. He's a 2-time gold medalist. He loves to represent his country.
He will go down as one of the greatest sports people we have ever seen. He's brought so much to the game, so much to our country. The passion he plays with, I would have loved to see the fairy tale ending tonight, and it's not to be.
When you work in sport, obviously there are plenty of times you have to say goodbye to some wonderful athletes, and what Andy Murray has done for British tennis is just incredible. And to see what he and Dan Evans did and rescue match points in their previous 2 matches to get to that point in the tournament was wonderful. It was sad that they bowed out in the way that they did because it wasn't the finale we all hoped for Andy Murray. But again, to play a part and to be a part of talkSPORT's coverage, to bring our listeners that iconic moment of this is it, the curtain has now fallen for Andy Murray, it will live long in the memory. And Joe Shannon just brought such justice to his career and to that commentary because he was excellent at it.
I think he's one of our greatest ever sportsmen. We talked about Daley, Thompson, Dame Kelly Holmes, Tessa Sanderson, Sir Steve Redgrave, but Sir Andy Murray for me is up there with those.
She always says that boxing saved her life, the boxing club saved her life, and if ever there's an example of why we need boxing in the Olympic Games, it's stories like Kelly Harrington, who is surely on her way to gold.
It's not like you just get picked by your country and you have to go in qualifying tournaments and you have to reach the semi-finals of these tournaments, so it's a very difficult thing. So you've already won really to get picked to go out there. The quality, the standard is very, very high, so it's not an easy process to get picked. But I also believe that 5 of our 6 fighters that went out early were very hard done by. I think the scoring was not particularly good, and I think that the boxing gods were not with Team GB, because any other given day, I think a lot of those would have gone through to the next round and possibly medalled as well. And it's subjective scoring and what you like and what you're seeing and what you're looking for, and the scoring is very different to professional boxing. But I just think that when you look at the output that their British boxers done in their fights, I think that they were very, very, very unlucky.
I don't think Kelechi should be fighting in this class. I think you can look at the physicality of her in comparison with the people that she's competing against. And I know that people are built in different shapes and sizes, but you have a weight class in boxing for a reason. Yeah. And more often than not, you can see the likeness of the two fighters.
But you don't think she should be in there? You don't think she should be fighting?
I don't think any right-minded person that doesn't have an agenda and doesn't have an ideology that they want to subscribe to rather than the belief in biology would suggest that it's appropriate for all the benefits of an XY chromosome, bone density, testosterone, muscle development.
I still don't think people have enough evidence to say she cannot box yet, but I think there needs to be a lot more clarification and a lot more digging into this.
But the debate's been blurred, so this is not a man against a woman. This is not a transgender debate. This is more DSD, the difference of sexual development, and I still don't understand the IOC, who've come out very much in her camp, in Khalif's camp, why they haven't been testing to check gender eligibility, just to sort of clarify the whole situation, and then that would make the sort of debate go away.
I think it was a huge talking point, you know, not just within the boxing, but within the games, and it went wider than that actually, with the story, and it was it sort of took away. At that time, I think, it took away from maybe other fights that were going on and other big stories that were going on within the games. Iman Khalif was the biggest story, bar none.
She has danced her way to a magnificent gold, and Roland Garros and the whole country of Algeria dances with her.
I think that they definitely need to look at that going forward. I think that when you look at that story and Iman Khalif competing, should she have been competing in the boxing? Possibly not. I think that it was something that needed to be sorted out, and I think with the Olympic Committee allowing that to go on after she was banned from the World Games, I think the Olympic Committee need to look at that more closely, because I think that, and I still believe that maybe she shouldn't have been competing.
Silver medal in what was an absolutely brilliant race, COVID, 4th in the relay. How would you sort of sum up what seems like a bit of a roller coaster week or so?
I mean, it's been very challenging. I think we've been swimming uphill on a few days due to the illness, but at the same time, I think we gave our best as a team. We haven't really gone through a full debrief where we could get better, where we were a little bit weak, but at the same time, it's not really important right now to go through that. It's just been especially with that relay, I think I'm really happy with how the team performed. With what we've been through, we have been suffering from quite a lot of illness in the team as well. So again, these are learnings for the next 4 years with the team, and again, it's unfortunate we didn't medal in that relay, but that's sport.
Adam Peaty certainly really impressed me, mainly because when he won the silver in the 100-metre breaststroke final, I thought he was going to be really gutted and quite angry, because he's such a competitor and he demands so much from himself. So to fall short just by 200th of a second, I thought he'd be really gutted and really difficult. But in fact, it was totally the opposite. He was so emotional, so happy, he'd just become a father, he had his son in the crowd. And actually, there were tears of joy, but he gave the most emotional interview, probably one of the most emotional ones I've ever had to do, and actually made me quite emotional just listening to how far he'd come in his career. And he was really kind of reflective of his whole career and how far he'd come. He had to have a break due to mental health issues, and he was just saying, I'm just so happy to be here, for me to even be competing at an Olympic Games. I think the whole interview just made you realise how human he was, but also it was a kind of a positivity interview regarding fathers, and saying, you know, it's really hard to be an Olympic athlete and a good dad to my son who's here, and that is the spirit of the Olympic Games. Moments like that, you know, it's not all Olympic golds, it's all the stories, it's all the hard work, all the early mornings. Adam Peaty, yeah, was certainly someone that I came away being really impressed, but also quite inspired by his journey as a father and also an Olympic athlete.
You can see the energy you were getting from the crowd, especially in the high jump as well this morning. Yeah, just a little word on the support you've received here.
Yeah, it's the closest thing since London. I know that me and you were there and we could feel it. I'm trying to feed off when the French athletes go and just go when it's their turn and pretend it's me. But it's like, yeah, athletics is back.
Just finally a little R&R tonight. I've been telling the guys upstairs that you're not too bad at Mario Kart, so we'll get a couple of games in. But yeah, a little bit of a gaming night tonight, or a little bit of rest and recovery.
All my competitive energy is gone. So if you want to actually beat me now, Adam, tonight.
That was special, honestly. That was really special. I said I've known Katerina for a very long time, and I've seen her struggles, I've seen her ups, I've seen her downs, and she is one of the most mentally resilient people you'll ever meet. A lot of people, if they were in her position, probably would have quit a long time ago, given up. She's always had that pressure, obviously, since 2012 when she came onto the scene. Jess won the Olympics. She's always had that pressure on her, and she's always managed to navigate it so well. And she's got really, really unlucky at past Olympics in Paris and in Tokyo. And for her to finally put it together and she almost won it, honestly. It was so close, but she did some absolutely fantastic performances that maybe she wasn't even expected to do. Her shot put was absolutely was incredible. Was one of the best shots I've ever seen her throw. It was her PB. So she really raised her performance, and then to see her afterwards and celebrate with her, she just was so relieved that it was done, and she's got her Olympic medal that she's been chasing for a long time, and yeah, there's all the pressures off now. She can just go and enjoy whatever she chooses to do. She's got that medal now, and no one's going to take that away from her. I think there'll be a little part of her, because I know Kat, and she's very competitive, and she holds herself to the highest of standards. She'll be a little part of her that thinks, I could have won that. But from where she's come from and the injuries, and basically she was written off by a lot of people, a lot of the older athletes who maybe commentate on the sport and on different platforms, maybe wrote her off. And I think she had a really good point to prove. So I think she will be looking to chase gold, and I think she's going to take it year by year, but I could see her going all the way to LA. And if she makes it to LA, you can't count her out.
Tom Cruise, of course, gave us an insight of what we can expect from an American Games, bigger and better, and I think we will see that very much. So yeah, would we like to be involved? Absolutely, we would like to be there. With the new sports, you've got baseball being back, you've got flag football, you've got squash making its Olympic debut as well.
We saw the domination of the Americans during the Olympics in the athletics, and they were winning gold medals in so many events where they don't usually prosper, like the 1500 meters when Cole Hocker beat Josh Kerr on the line. And when we were seeing that bell rung in the stadium so many times, it was being rung by somebody with the stars and stripes around their shoulders. The expectation is always there now. When Great Britain go to the Olympics, they go there with us hoping that they will come back with a clutch of medals. But I think in LA, it will become particularly difficult because USA will be looking to absolutely sweep the board.
No matter what championships you're at, the Americans, the USA guys, that they're always the ones to beat because their system is so brutal. And if you're making the American team, you're probably top 5 in the world, normally, depending on your event. But they are, especially home advantage in LA. Obviously, it's really sad what's happening there at the moment. Like it's insane. But the city will bounce back, and that Olympics they're going to have in 4 years' time will be one of the best Olympics I think we ever get to see in history. Athletics, honestly, and we can talk quite brutally. Athletics in the UK is in a bit of a weird spot, I'd say, at the moment. We just had a fantastic Olympics. We've got We've got a newly crowned 800 meter gold medalist. We've got relay medals. We've got the hunger for athletics is there. You see it in the public when people watch it, and young athletes, they feeling so inspired. And the onus now is on the sport to help grow it and make it more accessible for more people to really watch and get behind and get involved in. And we need to bring more money into the sport and get new sponsorship. And that's the job of the governing body. I know we need to be athlete first, and that's where I see it, and that's maybe where I've clashed heads with a couple of people in that sort of world before that maybe don't have their athlete hat on anymore. But for me, I think we have to be athlete focused. We have to be athlete first. It's great if we put so much effort into sort of the short term of athletics and get quick results, but you want longevity in the sport. You want to fund it from the grassroots up, so you have sort of a next generation, a load of athletes. You're not just waiting for one Keely Hodgkinson to come around or one Katarina. You want loads of athletes challenging each other, pushing each other, like you have in America, like you have in different countries. And yeah, we still got a way to go to get to that, I think, which is a shame. But we've got good people in the sport, hopefully now to push that and grow it. So I'm excited and confident athletics will get to where it needs to be.
Thomas Bach, the president of the IOC, declares the Games of the Paris Olympiad 2024 closed. And there is a groan around the stadium. Leon Marchand blows out the flame. The flame is extinguished. And the Paris Olympic Games are over.
From being there from the opening ceremony to the closing ceremony and everything in between, that is my highlight. The summer of 2024 is my highlight.
To have taken that concept of a bullet point in a report about non-exclusive radio rights to delivering that on the radio and doing it well with the people that we did was a highlight.
We're alongside the 2016 super heavyweight champion here in Paris as well. And Tony, I would just like to... Oh, he's got his gold medal, I don't believe it. Yeah. He's got his gold medal
I had to
here.
bring it tonight. I had to bring it tonight.
Still my beating heart. We're here with an Olympic gold medal. Spencer Oliver is putting this around his neck.
So you talk about the history of the sport, being here in Roland Garros, you know, in this stadium, it's been absolutely insane. 15,000 people, one of the best venues for boxing I think I've been in. And I'm wearing the 2016 Olympic champions gold medal. Insane, my friend, absolutely insane.
He just pulled it out of nowhere. I asked him to come up because I know Tony Yoka. Said to him, would you come up and commentate on a little bit of the boxing? I think the heavyweights were on at the time. And he said, yeah, no problem. I went downstairs, got him. He's coming running around. I ran down again. And we were just sitting there commentating. Out of nowhere, he flops this gold medal on the table. And I'm just like, I think mid-commentary, I just stopped, stood up, pull it on. And I'm like, there you go, I got the medal.
To be there to see the fastest man in the world, and that 100 metres final was ridiculous, especially as Noah Lyles was, with 80 metres to go, was pretty much at the back. So to come through and win like he did was just incredible. But I do have to go back to the Armand Duplantis in the pole vault. To break that world record on his third and final attempt. Everything had finished, let's remember, everything has finished, so all eyes were on him. He's already won gold, but he's thinking, I'm going to go for the world record. And to have done it on that final attempt, honestly, it was brilliant. There was no better moment to really capture and see because everyone in the stadium went wild. I think I even forgot I was on radio because I'm screaming. Bless Nigel Adley, our commentator, was fantastic. It was honestly a natural when it came to the athletics.
And that was just such a great sense of theatre. Everybody had stayed in the stadium, 80,000 people. It was the last thing going on. It was about 11 o'clock in the evening. Nobody had left. And we were just looking to see if he could break his world record again. He'd already had the gold medal in the bag. And he failed with his first two attempts. And I wonder if he was just doing that to create that sense of theatre, because he cleared the world record by absolute miles. And when that happened, the whole stadium just really took off.
Please God, we get the next Olympics, because like that for me was, it was insane. It was, it was a once in a lifetime. When you look at your career and you want to go through your CV and what you've done and everything else, I've commentated all over the world on all the big fights, going up to world heavyweight titles, world heavyweight undisputed titles, you know, Floyd Mayweather, Ricky Hatton, all the big names. But for me, doing the Olympics, tick list.
I hope to, for my own sake and my own sanity, I'm not still trying to run for the LA Olympics. But you never know. If my body can hold out and I'm staying competitive, then absolutely. But I'm taking it year by year now, and I just want to enjoy my sport, enjoy my sort of the back end of my career. I still believe I can compete. If I didn't believe that, I probably wouldn't still be training. But take it year by year, and if we can make it to LA, great. If not, then hopefully talkSPORT's there, and we can. They want me for part 2 at the Olympics.
I would go in a heartbeat to LA and cover the Olympics again, because it was such a brilliant experience. We're very honoured to be football commentators for talkSPORT covering great games. But when you go to the Olympics, it's something completely different, because you have that season-ending drama every single night.
My bags are packed. I'm ready to go. LA. Who doesn't want to go to LA for the Olympics? So yeah, talkSPORT, we need to do it. We need to be in LA with the same team as well, because we were a fantastic team out there.
Absolutely, 100%. Get me to LA. I mean, what an Olympics that is going to be.
Baby, bring me to LA. I'm coming. I'm ready. And now I've done my commentary bit. I know what I'm doing.
Paris was just a standout career experience, something that I hoped and dreamt that I might get to do. One day I thought I might get to commentate on athletics in the Olympic Stadium, and talkSPORT and Paris 2024 allowed me to do that. I got to commentate on Team GB winning a gold medal, and I got to commentate on Tom Daley's final ever professional dive. So if the opportunity was to present itself to go and do it again in Los Angeles, because there will be a whole raft of new stories and new athletes and new heroes and new opportunities, I'll be there.
And we come to the SJA Award for the best audio live event coverage. Judges said the winner's punditry offered both analysis and an emotional connection to the events. Their journalism was strong, notably their sensitive handling of the difficult subject area surrounding the Algerian boxer Iman Khalif. The winner of the award for audio live event coverage is talkSPORT's coverage of the 2024 Olympic Games.
This was a mad idea that a couple of us had, that we could bring the Olympic Games to talkSPORT for the very first time, and no UK commercial radio station had ever done the Olympics before. I just want to say to Liam and to Catherine and to Joe at talkSPORT, who took this crazy idea of ours and they ran with it and they gave it to the likes of Ellie and Matt, who did all the hard graft and organised it. We were a tiny team in Paris, I think about 14 or 15 of us at the peak. We were backed up by an amazing group in London who took on an event and took on sports they'd never done before. But to have lent on the live sport expertise that talkSPORT have in the building, and you've heard examples of it there, we could not have done the Olympic Games without all those cricket tours, without all those football matches, without all that live boxing, without all that fantastic rugby and everything else that talkSPORT does 24/7. Thank you so much. We are so thrilled.